Hey, Kingdom Dream Chasers. All right. So I am you know me, I get really excited when I come on and be able to share something with you that it's usually this is how it works, just so you can hear the backstory. Usually, my prayer time in the morning, praying, journaling, I go on my walk, process more with the Lord, and then something will show up, usually on social media, because that's my business. That's where I am. And so something will show up and it will trigger more inspiration, more ideas. And so what happened today was one of my favorite peer coaches, friends of mine, she posted and asked the question, which by the way, if you're not posting questions, you're missing out. Um, but the questions need to have easy answers, sort of, right? The more trust you build, the more difficult or challenging the question can be. But she asked, if you could wave a magic wand today and tomorrow your business could be perfect, what would it look like? And so what came up for me and what's been coming up for me is this concept of a well-oiled machine. Now, um, that's a worldly perspective, right? So let's look at this from a kingdom perspective. The machine that we have for our business is the the machine that we have to use that produces for our business is social media and email marketing. Really, it's those 2 things come together. I mean, if you disagree with me, I would love to hear it, but really for me, those 2 things together are the machine. They are the tools and the machine that God has given me to invite and nurture the women that He's called me to serve. And so, let's pull back for a second. So, if my machine in my business is sales and marketing, and it doesn't feel like a well-oiled machine. Let's just spend some time for fun. What would a well-oiled machine look like? Well, it would be a machine that you cared for, right? So if I'm in a machine shop and I have a machine that's producing my product, and without that machine, I can't produce the product. Therefore, I can't get, I don't have a business because I won't have income, right? So if then I'm going to take a lot of care with my machine. I'm going to be checking it. I'm going to have someone responsible for checking it. I'm going to have someone responsible for logging. This is the inspection. This is what happened. I oiled it here, right? They're taking inventory of what's going on with this machine because this machine is vital to the success of my business. Now, let's so when it comes to sales and marketing, that's the machine for my business. And it's Facebook for me and email marketing that together. So the big question I have for you right now is what is the machine that drives your sales and marketing? Because sales and marketing for the online businesswoman, if we aren't clear about what our sales and marketing process is, we are going to have so much more overwhelm, decision fatigue, burnout. But when we get clarity on, okay, what is my sales and marketing process? How do I, you could also call this, what's my customer journey? Is another way of saying part of this. So, knowing what your customer journey is great. But if you don't have a well oiled customer journey, all right. Some of you are like, oh, I get it now. I understand what she's saying. So, if you don't have a well oiled customer journey, your stress level is going to be a lot higher than it needs to be. So, sometimes when our stress level gets high, we start focusing on the wrong things to fix. Maybe I need more posting. Maybe I need more of this. Maybe I need to grab this, right? But the stress level doesn't leave because we were focusing on the wrong thing. What we really need to ask ourselves is, with my customer journey, what do I need to do to make that customer journey feel like a well oiled machine? And if I have a customer journey that's a well oiled machine, I'm going to give you some examples. Okay. Um, but before I do that, because we're going to break this down into detail, but before I do that, I want to just pull back and talk about sales and marketing from a kingdom perspective. Sales from a kingdom perspective is inviting. I'm pausing for dramatic effect. All right. For those of you who aren't watching me on YouTube. So, sales is simply nothing other than an invitation. So we need to get out of our head with sales, because when you come at it from any other perspective, then you're applying way too much emotion. So sales is an invitation. You should be excited to invite women into a closer connection along your customer journey. So they're going on a customer journey with you, and you should be excited to invite them at the right level, at the right time, based on where they are in your customer journey. Okay. If you know, please hear this. If you know what that invitation process looks like, that's half of your well oiled machine, because what you've done is you've taken away so much decision fatigue and overwhelm because you've gotten clarity on what that is. All right. The second thing, marketing. So if sales is inviting, what is marketing? Marketing is nurturing. So sales is nothing other than inviting, and marketing is nothing other than nurturing. Well, what do you mean, Gail? Well, if I do a post and it attracts someone, okay? Now my job is to nurture that lead to the next step. So here's an example. So let's say you're a wellness entrepreneur and you put a post out and you asked a question, because remember I said at the beginning, if you're not asking questions, you're missing out. So you ask a question at the beginning. Here's an example. And I'm going to simplify this, but just stay with me. So, um this is the question you're asking on social media. What do you struggle with the most? A, sleep. B, weight, losing weight. Or you could do it this way. Do you struggle most with getting a good night's sleep or getting enough sleep? See, you got to wordsmith, right? You got to play around with it a little while till it makes sense. So number one, A, getting a good night's sleep. B, losing weight. Three, or C, um, finding activity I enjoy, getting my body active, having my body being active for my body. So what do you struggle with most? A, B, or C? So there's a high likelihood people are going to answer that question. They're going to look at it and they're going to answer. So then you want to nurture. All right. So if they answer sleep, then you have a resource ready to go. Because remember, it's a well oiled machine. So you have a resource to nurture ready to go. And that resource is, it could be an article that you read about the 10 things you need to do to make sure you get a great night's sleep. And it's like screen time. You guys know these. Quit drinking water after 7 o'clock or 3 hours before you go to bed. Um, eat enough protein, all the things, right? So 10 things, do these, and you're going to sleep better. So let's say she put losing weight. Um, and if your niche is for women over 50, then you might have the top 10 things that women over 50 need to know to start losing weight. Oh, I want that all day long, right? So, and the third one could be top 10 things you can do to start being just a little bit more active than you were yesterday. So, how to get more active in a simple, easy way without joining the gym or lifting weights, right? So, then someone's going to say, I want that. Or, when they say sleep, then you're going to say, I have a resource for people who want sleep. Who wants it? Me. I have a resource for people who want to lose weight. Who wants it? Me. I have a resource for people who want to start moving without, you know, joining the gym and lifting weights. Me. So then you nurture again. You check back in on them. Was it helpful? I'd love to invite you to my Facebook group, because in my Facebook group, we talk about sleep and we talk about losing weight for women over 50, and we talk about being more active in ways that are easy and natural. Would that benefit you? If so, say me and I'll give you the link to an invite to my Facebook group, to our Facebook group. Okay. So did you see the invite? So the first invitation, the first nurturing was they said yes. And so I nurtured by asking a question, and I nurtured again by offering a free template, top 10 things. Offered again by coming into the Facebook group. Then I'm going to offer again by maybe coming to a free challenge or masterclass that I'm going to offer again. Then in that masterclass, I'm going to share more about my products. So you're nurturing all the way through. That's what marketing is. And what email does is it allows you to do that in your sleep. So you can set up automations that tell your story, who you are, invite them to get to know you, start giving value in the emails where they like they look forward to opening your email. I know everybody's overwhelmed by inundated with emails, but all they have to see is your subject line coming through once a week, however often you do it, and they remember you, even if they don't open it. All right. So email marketing is huge. Um, and that's another nurturing. That's what marketing is, nurturing. So do you remember what marketing is? Nurturing. Do you remember what sales is? An invitation. Okay. And it's invitation to know more about the hope that you offer. So if you have products that help people sleep better, and she said, yes, I want that top 10 thing. And then you say, hey, how did it go? And say, I'm curious, how is your sleep going these days? I have something that I found that has really helped me with sleep. Would you be interested in knowing more? But remember, that's way down in the customer journey, but you've got your customer journey all laid out. Now you've got a well oiled machine. You know what you're inviting them to and what you're nurturing all the way through. That's a sales and marketing well oiled machine. When we don't have that laid out, it produces a lot of stress and it causes us to be focusing on things that don't matter. And here's the most important thing that having your well-oiled machine in place does is it allows you to stop focusing on the task like posting, doing the reel, doing this, doing that. And it allows you to start focusing on the person. So you stop losing connection with people because you're stopping and starting, or you're being inconsistent, or you're not nurturing because you don't have it set up to do it. And so sometimes you offer this, sometimes you offer that, but you're not really it doesn't mean you can change up. You can't change up things because of course you can. But you need to change it up and then know, okay, when she gets here, I'm going to nurture. When she gets here, I'm going to invite. When she gets here, I'm going to nurture. When she gets here, I'm going to and that's a well-oiled machine and it allows you to focus on who to pay attention to who's paying attention. One of the biggest missed opportunities and missed s- opportunities for sales is we're getting so focused on the doing of the task and the things that we don't connect with people. And we get some crazy idea that someone's just going to buy your stuff from a post. And 90% of the time, that doesn't happen. It happens because you cared enough to get into a relationship. You cared enough to get into the DM, not about your products, but about serving her, about her sleep, about weight loss, about activity level, sharing your story, and not going in for the product conversation, right? So you have a nurturing sequence down. Now, some people think, well, sorry, I've got a hair hanging down in my eyes and I can't find it. Sorry if you're listening to this. You're like, well, I don't know what you're talking about. Well, I was kept trying to move something out of my face. So this is what I'm about to say might be a little bit painful, but it's very necessary and it's very true. And I love you too much not to tell you this. I've been in sales for a really long time, and sales has definitely changed, and the online marketplace has definitely changed. And the way that we have to focus on building trust in order to get sales is absolutely the only path. Okay. But it's a slower path than we like. All right. So I was talking with a client recently, and she's like, I just wanted to go faster. And I said, so does everybody else. You're not alone. This isn't unique to you. There isn't a human that doesn't want things to go faster, but we all have experience with how many of you have lost weight fast? It doesn't stay, right? So doing things fast ends up not being sustainable. And for more importantly, if you try to invite too fast, to nurture in an awkward way, all right? Are you like because if they're in a certain stage and you're inviting, it's kind of like going on a date and he wants to take you to his parents for dinner the next night. It's like, dude, I'm just like not even sure if I like you yet. You're asking me to know your parents? All right, this is weird. But that's what we do sometimes in online because we just want it to happen faster. And some of it's from the best of intentions. Often, most often, your heart is in the right place. You want her to get hope and to experience the same exciting transformation that your products have helped you with. But the truth is, guys, she's not going to listen to you. It's the old saying, they don't care until they know how much you care. And that's profound here because we are in you heard me talking about this. I can't say it enough. We're in a trust recession. For some women, they hear that and they feel so discouraged. I hear that and I say, thank you, Jesus, for letting us know the truth because now I know what to do. Focus on building trust. That's where you're going to win. So if you want your business to be successful, you need a customer journey. Some people might call it a pipeline. Some people might call it a funnel. I don't really care what you call it, but you need to claim it. Okay. And you need to know what is the journey that I take her on that's filled with nurturing and inviting. Little invites at the end, bigger invites. So the bigger invite would be to know about your product. The little invites are a lead magnet, like the top 10 things, or can I offer you a resource? Can I invite you to my Facebook group? That's still a little bit bigger. Um, but just keep showing up with value. You could, let's say that you did, if you, and I highly encourage you, if you have a Facebook group, you need to know what is valuable about her coming to your Facebook group. So you don't just say, do you want to come to my Facebook group? Well, you know how many Facebook groups she's probably in? Tell her what value she'll receive if she comes to the Facebook group. Oh, in the Facebook group, we've got the recipes and we share resources and favorite podcasts about nutrition and movement and lifestyle after 50, right? So there's going to be wonderful resources and things in there with you for you and other women sharing in our community. We'd love to have you. Would you like to join? So you need to tell her. The other thing I highly recommend about your Facebook group is to be going live at least once a week, not just to go live. You can go live as many times as you want. Say hello, welcome, be funny, be fun, whatever you want to do, your personality. But once a week, it needs to be like every Thursday at 2 o'clock. I go live to offer a higher value training. So if I'm in wellness, let's say I'm in essential oils. Every week, I'm going to go live. I don't care if it's 15 minutes, probably shouldn't be shorter than that. 15 to 30 minutes. Sometimes they might be longer, but rare, where you're going to share. Let's say we're heading into flu season, back to school season, right? Kids are going to start coming home. If your target audience is runny nosed kids, okay, then you can do a back to school um, prevention, flu prevention, right? With essential oils. If your audience is in the second half of life, you can do a top 5 oils that you can use to help you sleep better and how to apply them, where to apply them, when to apply them. All right. So you're giving value once a week. Now, if you're in essential oils, you could probably you could ask ChatGPT to come up with 52, because that's once a week, different topics around essential oils for women over 50. All right. So it could be infection, it could be sleep, it could be weight loss. You get the point. But you're showing up with high value. Then what you do is in the Facebook group, you can say, did anybody miss the training on how to use essential oils to help you sleep better? If you did, say me, and I'll tag you on it. And then you just drop the link again in there. But it creates involvement and energy and it creates connection and it allows you to keep showing up and nurturing and inviting. Then ultimately, you want to invite them into a one on one conversation where you're going to ask permission to talk about your products because you think it will help them, or you're going to do some kind of a masterclass and you're going to invite them into a 90-day journey where they're going to get products and you and coaching and mentoring and community and walk with you. So, a well oiled machine from a kingdom perspective, I believe, guys, and I pray you didn't get off yet because I really think this is the most important part. God has given us the gift of our business. He's highlighted who we have been equipped to serve, and He wants us to have ease and flow. Doesn't mean we won't have challenges, but He wants us to have ease and flow in our business. And I believe that means He wants us to have a well oiled sales and marketing machine. All that does is lets us know what I'm doing and when I'm doing it. All right. It brings your stress way down. It brings your excitement up because you know what you're doing and when you're doing it. And so, from a kingdom perspective, to have a well oiled machine, just think back to that shop owner. If they produce a widget, maybe they produce millions of widgets, okay? And that machine that produces those widgets is their bread and butter. I know a machine shop owner, and I know the guy who they had running that machine. Sometimes they'd call him in the middle of the night to get over there and fix that machine. That's how important that machine was to them. They knew how it worked, why it worked, who could fix it, what it needed when it was fixed. It was highly skilled because the machine was very intricate. So I'm challenging you to ask yourself, what is my sales and marketing? What is the process? Because when that process becomes a well oiled machine, you are going to find flow and ease in your business again. And more importantly, it's going to allow you to start focusing on people instead of posts and stuff. You're going to focus on the people because all of those posting decisions will be done because you'll have your well oiled machine in place. So, pray this was a blessing to you today. I think it's fun to use these analogies like Jesus when he told parables. He did it for many reasons, but one of the reasons why he did it was so that we would identify at a deeper level with what he was saying. So, you might not know anybody who has a machine shop, but I'm trusting that the analogy sat well. So, your homework, your assignment is to number one, choose not to be overwhelmed by this. Like, where do I start? How do I get a well oiled machine? Well, you need to sit down with a piece of paper, turn it horizontally, and write on the left hand side, you want to write down um, first post. She sees you for the very first time. Okay. Talking about how you thought you'd never sleep well again. Now you're sleeping great and it's changing. It changed your mood. It changed your relationships because you're not as irritable. You're making better food choices because you're not emotionally eating as much because you're not as tired. And you're so grateful. And it's your passion now to help other women feel the same way. Did I mention the product? No, but it's kind of implied, and that's okay. So then I want to then say, anybody relate to my story? And so then you're going to get people to comment, right? And then, so what's the next step? Well, the next step would be who wants 10 things on sleep? A next step would be who wants to come into my Facebook group because we talk about sleep in there and sleep over 50 and hot and hormones and all the things and the things that we can do in an easy way that bring a more restful night into our day and get us less irritable, eating better, and all the things. Who wants in, right? So you just write out what is that journey going to be, so that you know when you're nurturing, when you're inviting, and that's sales and marketing. All right, guys, enjoy.